You're good to go.
Hello, people of That Beautiful Life podcast. This is Roddy Bergström talking all the way from Stockholm, Sweden. And I hope you're having a good start or a good week, I would say. We're already at Thursday and we're recording, you could say, one day later. We're getting into that in a second. But as always, we aren't alone. And I would say we because, either it's me or my dear friend Kudus Campbell starting to talk here. And today it's me. So with that said, I want to say hi and also good morning to you, Q. How are you?
I'm good. I am good. I'm awake. I am sitting here at the computer. How are
It's
you?
a start. It's a start.
It is a start. It's a start indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. I'm fine too. I've been up a bit and doing a few things and stuff like that. It's been a special kind of week, I guess. At least we're getting into that. This time I thought I would start just to get this out of my system because I've been, as I told you, we always have this little pre-talk, of course, before we hit the recording button when it comes to this podcast. And we will, of course, touch base with what we have been doing this week and, of course, a bit of gaming and Tele and things like that. However, I've had a week that has mainly been focused around my new Mac. I think I said last time that my old servant, you might say, my old iMac broke about 2 weeks ago, and which was expected. It's been around since like 2011. It's amazing that it's been working as well as it has. But from last summer and up to now, there's been problems. And long story short, it broke. And I found used one on a service here in Sweden, a website that is very trusted, and I've used it before. And so I made a deal with the dude, or not made a deal. There was a price, and the price. Oh well, I wish I could have made a deal. Maybe get it a bit cheaper, but that's not the case. But even so, I got it on Monday evening, and from Monday late afternoon and up to now, the only thing I've been doing is to get things started with the new computer. Because as some of you guys might know, I do work with music production and making music and things like that. That's part of my income and what I do. And it also means that there will be a lot of music program related things on this Mac. However, even though this is a Mac Mini from 2020 and it's really, really good. I think it's awesome. But it's it means that it has new features. It's faster, of course. This is the really, really good new processor, but it also has very strong security settings. So I needed to go into safe mode at some point and change security settings when it comes to some external devices and softwares, because it didn't detect my audio interface that I'm using when making music. And that took that was as I told you before, Q, that was the biggest road bump in this little story of mine, trying to figure out how to get that one going. And alongside with the two updates, one update when it comes to the FireWire support and connection, and also then the right new software for my Focusrite audio interface. Then I got it to work and I was like, pew, finally. So I could move on. And then the time has been spent, as mentioned, just doing start to re-download, I would say, a lot of the external plugins that I'm using and so forth. But it's been a bit more pleasurable, I might say, because some gets detected quite easily and fast by the system. I mean, I have them even on my external hard drive, some of them. So so now I would say that I'm about 97% done. So that's like, I feel good about that, which also means that I can finally start to produce again and to do things, to start to do music and things. But it's good, though. I mean, when you've had something for a very long time and you're very used to it, you work in a certain way as well. You know exactly where things are, or hopefully you do, and you know the system. This is a bit new for me, and I have to also think about the fact that the the actual SSD, the hard drive is smaller than I had on my iMac. So I need to be like more organized when it comes to putting things like into my external hard drive, so I don't lose space too fast, because I have already eaten up like 400 plus gigabytes of the 512 gigabytes that I have on that hard drive. Sorry for being a bit boring talking about computers and stuff,
No,
but
no,
this is
no. That's
but,
that's
yeah.
perfectly fine. And I think it's just a very real experience, especially quite a lot of people have Macs, and also there's quite a lot of people with PCs as well. And I think like we were talking before we started about like just the idea of having to shift between having two monitors to switch into one, and how absurd that feels. So
True. Oh yeah, I have to mention that is true. By the way, hi Daniel. Daniel, hope you're
I
fine.
Nalu.
Yeah, Nalu, that's what you call. I gotta remember that as well.
Mm,
But even so, as you pointed out, I had to. Well, I thought that another monitor would work with this Mac setup, but it showed up that it wasn't compatible with Mac. So I had to take my second monitor for my PC setup here, my gaming setup, and use, at least for now, for the Mac setup, because I live or use the best things out of two worlds. I'm both on PC and Mac apparently.
mhm,
But as you said, I also stream Tuesday evening as I usually do, and it was really weird not to having that extra monitor on
mhm,
my PC, going back watching the chat, for example, on my phone and everything. I'm not, yeah. Yeah, it
mhm.
is. Yeah, PC is easy when it comes to upgrade insights and everything, and that is, of course, the biggest perk that you can do that. On the other hand, you can do that to a certain extent on Mac computers as well.
Mhm.
Absolutely. For example, this one, the Mac Mini I bought, is upgraded from 256 to 200 to 512 gigabytes when it
Yeah.
comes to the yeah, but and also it has 16 gigabyte of RAM instead of 8 gigabyte of RAM,
Mhm.
so it has been upgraded. Uh, it has, I would say, since I've been working in like both let's say Windows and iOS, and meaning Mac and PC, for
Mhm.
many years, I see both like advantages and downsides on like both systems. As
Mhm.
I mentioned to you, I mean, Mac puts a lot of effort into security,
Yeah.
and which can be a bit almost annoying now. I'm like, yes, I want to do this. Yes, I approve. Yes, I do approve. Yes, I just ticked that I approve, but okay, I can approve again. A bit like that. On the other hand, it's very stable, if I put it like that. It's
Mhm.
only one system, right? It's only
Yeah.
one. Yeah, on PC it can be many. I
Mhm.
want to give a little shout out to the Apple support, because it
Mhm.
showed up when I wanted to. Of course, when I fixed the audio interface,
Mhm.
I wanted to download my Logic 10 Pro from the Apple Store, and it showed up there was a problem with my with my account there. So I needed to call the support when it comes to Apple. I've done that a few years ago.
Mhm.
That's the only time I needed to. But they are they were at least, or are very professional. It's one
Mhm.
of the better supports that I have to say that I've ever talked to.
Mhm.
Uh, Both like, I don't know, the whole experience was really good. And this guy, he was like, okay, I understand the problem. I will now let you talk to a senior, and he will help you with this, because he knows exactly
Mhm.
what he's gonna do. And boom, I got connected to him, and he was very polite. And he's just, okay, Roger, I got the picture here, and I'm gonna fix this for you. So we do this, and it was really, yeah, it was without any hassle. That's just what I said. It was
Mhm.
so far from the experience, for example, I've had talking to the support when it comes to
Mhm.
my EA account. Like years ago, I talked about that and made a video about it that still
Mhm.
get views. Apparently, people are having these problems when it comes to retrieving an account on EA.
Mhm.
Oh my God, that support! Holy shit! I know they're probably doing their best, but I even got into a call with one guy that I couldn't even though I have an accent as a Swedish guy,
Yeah.
I couldn't understand what he was saying. I was like, what is this guy saying, man? Yeah,
I think your accent is a bit more faded though, in the sense of like,
yeah,
you've been you can you you've got that sort of like almost neutral internet person accent, you know.
Yeah, it has become, I guess, like that because also, I mean, you know me for many, many years,
Mhm.
and I mean, I speak English, I think it has to be like 4 times a week or something.
Yeah.
And so actually, sometimes my youngest son that still lives at home, you know him, Isaac, he kind of laughs at me because I kind of throw in some English words now and then. And it's really, it might sound weird, but it's actually true. And it's
Mhm.
just when I get a bit stressed and I can't find the right word, and then just boom, an English word that is suitable pops up in my head, and I use that instead.
And he's like, Father, why don't you? You're supposed to know Swedish. Shameful. Let's
Yeah, yeah, and
pray.
of course I'm not gonna like try to sound or make it sound like a big thing, because it's not. Of course it's not.
Mhm.
But it's like, you know, when you, yeah, I don't know, it's just, it's really a second language for me nowadays.
Yeah.
And it feels comfortable for me. I even
Mhm.
think in English sometimes, which is, yeah, you could argue and say, why are you doing that?
Hey,
Um,
I think that just shows how far you come along, you know.
Yeah, you know what? It's true. I guess when it becomes more like that, almost like, you know, jumping on a bicycle and just
Mhm.
go, you know, because it's like in your spine and you don't have to think about balance or pushing the pedals. You know, it's
Mhm.
more like a motoric kind of thingy.
It is.
Yeah, but even so, it's now it's interesting. Technique is interesting, especially when it works. It's great. But I'm looking forward to start to
To
yeah.
working.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, remember also when initially on my iMac, like
Mhm.
many, many years ago, that is the cool thing with Mac. You can have a partition, like you can divide. I had part of the hard drive was Windows, and a part
Mhm.
of the hard drive was iOS. So I
Mhm.
could actually, I used it then both as a media computer, meaning like the Apple Mac part, but
Mhm.
also I had games. I played games since
Mhm.
I also had Windows on it. That's kind of cool. You can't do the opposite around on a PC apparently.
Yeah, you can't. You can,
But
but it depends on if you have a specific build of PC. So,
okay,
there was a point in time when I had one. Basically, what you would do, they call it a Hackintosh, essentially. So it's like I guess you wouldn't call it like a bootleg version of Mac. And the idea is
yeah,
that you would build a Mac PC with with similar parts that you would find in a Mac. So, back when Mac used to use Intel chips, you could have like an i7 or an i5 in it.
yeah.
You'd have to have a very specific one, and then you'd have to have a specific type of board to be able to get the audio drivers and all that kind of stuff working. And
Mm,
then you'd be able to install it, and then you could have Mac and PC on that system, which I did do before. It's quite a challenging thing because you have to find very specific parts and stuff to get it to work. But it is possible to do. I don't know if it's gotten easier over the years. I would like to think not, especially because of the fact that um you know, Apple has finally gone to Apple Silicon, which is the M1
yeah,
and M2 chips.
exactly.
So I would assume that it's more difficult.
Yeah,
But
I assume as well.
mhm,
Uh, but at least, as you mentioned, the new processor, like the silicon and everything. I mean, it works really flawless. It's a really
mhm,
good computer.
mhm,
Even though when I had my darkest moments, when my iMac started to, you know, get into I am slowly dying kind of mode,
mhm,
then I was like, should I invest money in just building another stronger PC and
mhm,
have both my gaming, both my everything with YouTube and whatever have you on
mhm,
the PC, which I do have, but
mhm,
also convert from using Logic Pro into like when it comes to PC or Windows, it's either like Pro
mhm,
Tools or Cubase or, you know,
mhm,
DAWs that are called like that. But I was no, I you know, the hassle to, even though you would get into it after some time,
mhm,
I just felt that no, I want to keep this separated. And in a way,
mhm,
it's freaking good because
mhm,
I literally, you've seen my room, you know,
mhm,
it just pushed me back from my PC setup where I'm recording, talking into the mic right now,
mhm.
like whoop, going back here, you hear me distancing a little bit by my by my Mac setup. So it's good. I can feel that I can kind of mental wise also separate my doings in this room just by having the two setups.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got pissed off by the Apple support.
Yeah, I'm actually reading that comment now.
Yeah. That can happen, of course. I'm not saying no one is flawless, definitely not. But I was just, I just felt that it breathed. It was breathing some professionality that I have not always encountered, if I may say so. So it was really, it was all about finding the solution and not so much more. But with that, fill in.
I was gonna say, I'll be honest. When I was looking for my laptop, when I was looking for a laptop and I ended up getting the one I have now, I was actually looking for a Mac M1 chip laptop because I was thinking, I was thinking, you know what, like I work remotely a lot. Once I'm on, prime working version of me, I'll be traveling on a regular basis, and I need a laptop that I can take with me that's powerful enough to run all my software, but lightweight enough that I can carry anywhere. And the one thing that I considered was just getting a Mac. I figured if I go with an M1 Mac, it's going to be future proofed for the most part. Sure. And it's going to be light enough that I can carry it anywhere, and not very power heavy. But in the end, I ended up going with a Dell laptop.
Okay.
No, my laptop is pretty powerful. Like, it can run everything my home PC can run. Maybe not at the exact same level of fidelity at 4K, but I don't need to run 4K because the screen is 1080p. The one major problem I find with it, which is something that you can hear from almost any PC person, is when that laptop is plugged into the power supply, it is like I'm running a PC. When you disconnect it, it runs like a homeless person. So, Essentially speaking, I think with a Mac, I wouldn't have that problem because the Macs use, I think, ARM architecture, which is like mobile phone architecture, which runs great on batteries. Windows does not run great on batteries, apparently, because it's power hungry, and that's just because I think it runs on, is it x86 architecture, I believe it is. Which is quite power hungry and unfortunate. So I don't know, maybe one day Windows will switch to some ARM architecture. Not all the way. I'm thinking some Windows, like maybe laptops do ARM and desktops do, regular x86. So you can have a bit of both worlds. That'd be nice, having laptops that could run everything, and be more power efficient, I guess. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I most likely will lead towards that in a quite nearby future, I believe. No, but as said, I mean, I've had both like good experiences of both worlds, and I wouldn't like to miss any of the two, so to speak. And I had a MacBook Pro. That's how I also started, like learning Logic and everything, like many years ago. I might have told you that I had, and it broke though after the mother card eventually. That's when I got my iMac in like 2011, 2012, something like that. And that's one thing I want to say, the iMac monitor is absolutely amazing. That I miss. It's really good, and Adam said that too. Agent Adam, my oldest son, who is very tech wise, as you know, it's like it is a very good monitor. And I just checked the video, actually, what I can do, because as you may know, guys, iMac is like the computer and the screen, the monitor is one, meaning if you take off the glass, the computer is behind the glass. Yeah. That's literally how it works. And there is a way to use the monitor or the iMac only as a monitor.
Right.
It isn't that hard to do. I saw a video where a guy showed some components and things that are needed to be connected in order to make it happen. And then I started to think like, okay, maybe that could be a choice also for me when it comes to getting back my second monitor for the PC setup, so to speak. It would be nice. I'm going to look into it, actually.
Definitely. And then I think to a certain extent as well, like, you're avoiding a lot of e-waste because you don't have to just throw out the whole monitor, because if the screen is still working, the display, but the board isn't, then that's great. At least you have a display. And I also think, like, with the kind of displays that Apple do, I think it would be great to have your Mac running on a display like that rather than just a standard display, because they do very good displays, Apple, so
Yeah, they do. They actually do. So I'm thinking that's a secondary issue right now, but it's thoughts. So we'll see about that. Yeah, now you can confirm that Windows are very power hungry. Yeah, there is a difference indeed there. It is. But PCs and Macs aside, otherwise the week has been good. The weather has been going a bit back and forth as it is right now, like late summers, like getting into fall and everything. It's been better than the forecast though, and I'm always happy when that's the
when you say better,
way.
define better.
Define better. Yeah, it means that it hasn't been raining as much as it was supposed to do. It's been coming some showers once in a while, a few days here and there, but mostly we've had like no rain and actually some good weather. Yesterday was really nice, like 22 degrees. We've talked about that, like a perfect temperature, not too windy, and yeah, it was really, really nice. So that was cool. And yeah, so it's been good. But
It's been hot for me, honestly. Absolutely opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like when you say it's been good. For me, good right now would be a bit of rain. Like it's raining. It sort of looked like it rained a little bit this morning, and I wish it rained a bit more. Like it is so humid and warm right now here.
Aha, okay. Yeah, we've had humid weather a bit too much in my taste, especially on the days when I work out. Go down in the gym where like a few kilometers from here. Then it's not the air is not so nice, but yeah.
It's quite uncomfortable.
You're having hot temperatures over there. 52 days of humidity. Yeah,
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is what it, places. I mean, you grew up in the Caribbean, but it's also I on Tuesday, as mentioned, I streamed, and this guy's name is Joe. I might mention him. Really nice guy. He lives in Texas, and they've had like 40 degrees. And
unacceptable.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. It's really no. What are you doing? Maybe that's 100. What I don't know Fahrenheit. I suck when it comes to.
Yeah, I don't know that either. I don't think anyone in the rest of the world really knows Fahrenheit unless you live in the States or Canada or something.
Yeah.
So unnecessary.
I'm getting curious though what it is. Oh, it's 37 degrees, almost 38. I did fast calculation over here. Okay, then we know. Good. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's really hot.
Yes, it is. Darn it. Yeah. Oh, you also live in Texas. Wow, look at that. Well, then maybe you guys are neighbors. Who knows?
Maybe. Maybe they're the same guy and you just don't know it.
That could be the case. Daniel, Daniel. Who knows?
Exactly.
Yeah, some people have many names,
Joyce's
some are good and some are not, and so forth. That's just how it works. But with that said, my friend, what about your week? Curious now to hear about your week, Q.
Mine has been, I want to say unplanned. It's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I've had a very unorthodox, unplanned week for me, per se. So, I was supposed to be playing Trails, Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. I haven't played it for like I want to say like maybe about a week or two. I somehow stumbled into an Xbox Series X. I'm not gonna get into details, but I somehow stumbled onto one, and I want to say I think of the current generation of consoles, the Xbox Series X may be my favorite. And the reason being is because the Series X is everything that the S is, excluding one thing, because the S is the most portable system of all time, current generation. And I think if I were to travel or go anywhere, I would take my S with me. Like that would be the console I would pack.
Oh yeah.
But the perk of the X is that it has a disk drive, and I've never really cared too much for a disk drive in recent times because of the fact, discs get damaged, they get scratched. which is something that happened since we got the X. Is like we got a disc and we were playing it and I think someone took it out and touched it in a weird way and a fingerprint got on it, and it was like an error message that came up. So now these problems don't happen when you have a digital game, but the perk of having a physical game is, or at least a disc drive, is that you can actually bargain hunt, because when you're buying it digitally, you're stuck at whatever price Microsoft Store is selling it at, or whatever store you're buying it from. Those are the prices you're stuck with. When you actually can go to like a gaming shop in town or go on Facebook Marketplace and look for something, you find a lot of deals. And last week I was playing WWE 2K16. We ended up getting 2K22. And it only cost us £8 to get 2K22 from a shop in the UK called CEST. CEST. So I went to CEST, and I have a nephew who was staying with us, right? So I picked him up from where he lives and brought him to Reading, to where I live. And we were walking through town, and I was like, oh, you know what? I need to go to CEST and stuff like that. And he's like, Uncle, why do you He's like, he's easier and all like, red face kind of like, because I'm saying the name of the shop, because the name of the shop is pronounced sex, right?
I was like, okay, I hear you.
It is pronounced that way. Normally people would say CEX, so most people would say, have you been to C? But I called their support line once, and it said like, hello, welcome to Sex. So I was like, well, it's Sex from now onwards. That's it. I'm never gonna change how I say this name. Their support line says Sex, so I will say Sex too. So there I am walking through town, and I'm with my nephew, and I'm like, I'm basically talking about it, and he's getting all shy and stuff like that. And I was like, what's wrong? He's like, you're saying this all in public and all that kind of stuff. And I just like waited till anyone was close enough to us. Like when someone was walking past us, and I'd be like, but what's wrong? I would love to have sex open at this hour, and all this. And he got more and more like embarrassed and stuff like that. He used to like cover his face, and he's like he was just laughing. But yeah, ended up, so we got a coffee at Sex for £8. And I want to say NBA 2K22 is a brilliant game. I don't have any footage of it right now, but it's such a brilliant game. I think 2K16 does not even come close. I think 2K22 is so much better. And I say that on the visual standpoint, and as well as, on a gameplay standpoint. But yeah, we basically so that's the second reason that I like the Series X so much, is because of the fact that you can buy physical games at a ridiculous reduced price, because of the fact that the Series X is not the more popular of the two current gen consoles. Even if a game comes up for Series X and PlayStation 5, the Series X version is usually way cheaper on the used market. So I've seen games for Series X as low as, like, as I say, £8, where the PlayStation 5 equivalent is somewhere around 15 or higher. So it's a huge difference, at least sometimes even less than 50, more than 50% difference between the two prices. So that being as it is, I would say it's a huge perk to have in a Series X. Now, that may not always be the same, because this is something a price that's driven by demand. So if there are more Xbox Series X users, the price may be it may be higher, and it also may be higher based on where you live as well. Maybe you live in a place where Xbox is more popular. So for you in your town or wherever you happen to be, you may not find the same deal I'm finding. But for me, where I am, PlayStation seems to be more popular, and so PlayStation games and stuff like that seem to be at a premium. So. I would say the Series X, brilliant console, and it's also more powerful than the PlayStation 5. I say this as just like a number crunch thing. I actually don't see the difference. It runs the same to me as far as I'm concerned. Visually speaking, it just looks the same. I'm not bothered either way. But I will say I'm quite a fan of the Xbox. I think I love the interface. I love it's quiet. It's a quiet console, like you were talking about your PC. It's quite quiet.
Oh, my Mac.
Your Mac,
Yeah,
sorry, correct, your Mac. So the Xbox is quite a quiet console. The only time I've ever heard it come on, like the sound from it, is while having a disc in the drive, which I think is a lot similar with the PlayStation 5. The only time I've heard the PS5 is when I've had a disc in the drive.
Yes.
And so forth. So they're very quiet consoles this current generation. Even if you're running the games like like running the most demanding game, they seem to be fine. But generally speaking, I want to say, this week has been pretty much a packed week, because as I mentioned, Adam nephew staying over with us, and
right.
Him and Zavi sort of like hung out and they had a nice time together and all that kind of stuff. Kind of having lad time. So I would let them stay up as late as they wanted, as long as when they get up in the morning they did like an hour in their book. So they do an hour study, and then they could play for the rest of the day, as far as I'm concerned. And they did that, and they had a brilliant time doing their own thing, and just sort of give them a little bit of freedom. They went to the movies, did a bit of this, a bit of that. So worked out pretty nicely for them. For me, not so much, because I had Ty with me, and then which meant quite a lot of me keeping him entertained, because he wanted to go and hang out with them, but because they're older lads, they don't actually really want to hang out with him. Like, they'll hang out with him out of courtesy, but not really want to hang out with a 5-year-old. So I had to sort of like, make sure he's with me and all that kind of stuff, all out of it. Which he loves hanging out with me as well, but at the same time he wants to go hang out with, like, there's someone new staying at ours and he wants to hang out with them.
It's exciting. He wants to see what are they doing, what are they up to and stuff like that. So it's
yeah, exactly. So essentially that's sorry, what 2 p.m. is not waking up in the morning. I do tend to be awake late at night, because Ty's still not potty trained when it comes to bedtime, so I have to stay awake till like 4 a.m. in the morning most days to sort of like put him on the potty. I put him on at usually I put him on at like 2 a.m. and then I have to put him on the potty again at 4 a.m. So like sort of like make sure that he uses the potty. I had a full long conversation with my brother about that, like last night, about him not using the potty, and it was just such a long it's just been such a long arduous process of trying to get him to be potty trained, which means a lot of sleepless nights for me, and a lot of me waking up late.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it is quite like, even last night I went to put him on the potty, and as I got there he had already weed the bed. So I went there. I even went earlier than usual. So I went like maybe around, say, 1:40 a.m. So it wasn't even 2 a.m. yet. And I went in to put him on the potty, and he was drenched. Like, I had to take off the sheets and, change him, put him into a new pants and put him back in the bed. And because at that point in time, there's not much I can do with him in the night. He's already done it, But yeah, he's still not there at that point yet, which means I have to be awake, because my missus works a regular 9 to 5, and because of that, she's expected to be at her desk at a certain time and all that kind of stuff. I'm a bit more flexible. My schedule is a lot more flexible because of how I operate. So it's easier for me to move things around than for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just means my sleep schedule is kind of wonky. Like the other night I came to bed, I think it was like, I want to say I came to bed like 3 a.m. And I was like, I've already put him on the potty once, I'm gonna go and sleep. And then she was like, have you put him on the potty twice tonight? And I'm like, no, not yet. And she's like, what? She's like, why don't you just go put him on the potty again? She was like, when did you just put him on the potty? I was like an hour ago. And I know if I put him on the potty an hour apart, he's just gonna wee the bed. So I was like, I'll stay awake for like another hour, and then I'll go. So like I put on like something on my phone, and I just sort of stayed awake for another hour, put him on the potty, and then came back to bed. And that was kind of it. So it's a bit brutal, but don't worry, I'll be fine. I
hope you get more. I hope you get more sleep soon.
As soon as
I can understand though why you're doing it. Of course, I mean it has to work. You got to get the family wheel rolling well. It's just how that's what it's all about. So good job staying up.
I don't want to. Honestly, I think for me, my ideal sweet spot for bedtime is 2 a.m. I think for me. That's the sweet spot. And I say this is the sweet spot while Ty is at home.
Yeah, okay.
And he's not on a regular schedule. So for Ty, he goes to bed at 10 p.m., right? Which means someone has to keep an eye on him throughout the day. If you leave Ty for too long, he'll get up to some kind of silliness, usually. So because of that, it means that even if, for me, I only start doing me things, like not thinking about Ty in that sense, after 10. So after 10 p.m., that's when I can switch my brain off of like, oh, I need to keep an eye on him to I can do whatever the hell I want to do at that point.
Yeah.
Like when the few times that Alex and the boys have not been at home, where they've gone on a trip somewhere, whatever have you, I have gone to bed like 9 p.m. in the night, you know. But that's because I have the whole day to do whatever I want. So I'm not like trying to squeeze out a little bit of time to do my thing at the end of the day. I've done all that I want to do during the day, so I'm able to go to bed at a reasonable time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as you said, you can compensate a bit, and that is fortunate. Otherwise, I mean, imagine if you both would have like 9 to 5, then it would be tough. That's what I'm thinking, because as you said, then you can take a rest, you can take a nap, for example, after we podcasted a bit, if possible.
Yeah.
Or you go to bed early in order to maybe go up and help him during the night, whatever have you. So, yeah, sure, that's a thing. As you say now, the QS Power, yeah, indeed, but not forever. That's the thing. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. We got to take care of ourselves. But it's a period in life. I mean, I remember also when my sons were, you know, in the same age as yours. You know, it is what it is. You do what it takes to get things to work. As said, the wheel of family, or whatever you want to call it. You gotta get things going and help each other out. You know, it's kind of a support thing that you just do.
You do what you have to do.
Yeah, you do what you have to do. You know, so it's. Okay, I hear you. Well, it's been a bit of interesting sleep schedule, indeed. Anything else you want to mention besides that you can think of?
Outside of that, as I said, like I had family over. Our friends, 4-year-old stayed over at ours over the weekend as well. And you know. He's potty trained, so he wakes up in the night and just uses the potty. He might just wake you up to tell you that he needs the toilet.
Okay.
So that he doesn't go to bed. Which I always try to tell Tom, like, Ty, he's younger than you. You should be using the potty already. And you know, but I think he just doesn't. I think he's just so accustomed to. At nighttime, he's been using nappies for so long. It's difficult for him to try to transition yet. He still hasn't really got it yet. That was Sunday, right? Yeah, that was Sunday. And then, yeah, generally speaking, I want to say it's just been a chill enough week, you know. More or less, just we've had, like, my brother was over at one point. We had a sort of like, we went swimming. It was like a lads' day. I think it was on Friday. We went swimming with us and the boys. So it was me, both my brothers, Zavi, my nephew, Ty, another nephew, and his friend, and a friend's kid, and we went swimming, and it was brilliant. Ty loves the big slides now, so which makes it more fun for me, because before I used to have to stay on these baby slides with Ty and stay in the baby area. Now he's happy to go on the big slides and stuff like that. This water sort of like pool. And we get to go down really quick, and he's cheering and stuff like that. Honestly, I'd love to take him as often as possible if I could. But this pool is not too close to our house, so I only go when my brother is going. But man, Ty loved it. He loved it so much. He was having so much fun. I was having fun. Zavi had
that's good, yeah.
He had a bit of a. He's a bit. I think the thing with Zavi is he gets into his head too much. And he gets so we went to the slides, and these slides go up a bit and you go down. And Savi went ahead of us. You know, Stan and I had to get like a specific floaty thing to sit on. And so Savi was ahead of us, and we wait. Eventually, we're all going up to the top, you know, one by one. And Ty and I get up, to the top, and then we can see Xavi going back down. We're like, where you going? He's like, oh, my stomach's hurting me. I was like, Xavi, don't chicken out, man. Come on, buddy. And he's like, it's really hurting me. And I was like, uh-huh. And he just walks past me and goes back down. And I'm just like, I know he's chickening out, you know. I know he's because it happened recently when we went roller skating. You know, he was just like, and I think it's not that he can't do the task, it's that he's in his head too much thinking about either what other people are gonna think, or he's sort of like painting a sort of thing in his head before even doing the thing. So like with roller skating, Xavi's struggling to roller skate, but he can ice skate and ski, which makes no sense to me. It's like, dude, do something more difficult, you know. But he's scared to roller skate, so he's moving on the roller skates like, oh my god, I'm gonna fall. But I think the thing when we went roller skating, he was saying to me something about there's so many small kids around, and I think he was feeling like if he fell over around all these little kids, he would look bad. I'm like, who cares about the optics, right? Like if you fall, don't just get back up, you know. Because there I was. Roller skating and just tearing it up. I didn't care if I fell over. I fell over maybe, I don't know, 3 times or maybe 4, right? But you know, I fell gracefully, got back up, and just went again. You know, and by the end of the day, I was skating like a pro. I was keeping up with everyone else who was like, you know, skating for ages. You know, and it's the same with going to the pool. Like Ty was afraid, but you know, I was like, hey, we're gonna be fine. Him and I went down. And he loved it. All I told him was, look, hold on to this, don't let go. And during the tougher sections of the thing, I would just grab onto him if I can tell, like he's like, there's a section in where you go into pitch darkness. Yeah. At that point, I just sort of like held on to his chest so that he knew that I was still there. And basically that was it for him. He was comfortable with that. You know, actually, my brother said when my niece went through it the first time, she climbed out of the inner tube thing that they were on.
Okay.
Which can be, as a parent, probably really terrifying, because you have to keep in mind you can't see inside there, one, and if you were a smaller kid and they climb out of there, there's water gushing everywhere, there's all sorts of stuff. You know, you don't know what could happen, you know, at that point in time, basically. So, yeah, I was happy Ty didn't try to climb out. He did let go at one point, but I told him, like, hold on, Ty, hold on. I just grabbed his chest, and he felt fine. Because you kind of sit behind them in your own section on the inner tube, and they sit in front of you in their little section. And they're sort of like sitting on your legs, but they have these 2 things to grab onto. And it terrifies me more because he's in front of me, so I'm like, all the water is splashing into his face.
Of course. Yeah.
And I was like, but then at the same time, you don't want him behind you, because if he lets go, you wouldn't even know he's let go if he's behind you.
True.
So, but it was.
That's fun. Actually, that brought back some memories for me also, doing the same, you know, when my kids were in that age. It's fun. Actually, just not too long ago, because I remember there was a place in another nearby city from Stockholm that opened like a new house, and they had these great water things to explore and stuff like that. Whatever, we went there. This is only a few years ago. I mean, as adults, you might say, both me, Isaac, and Adam, and had a really good time. And during this summer, Adam was like, where was this place where we had, you know, maybe you should go there again. You know, I mean, look at that. You know, you always had, even though I mean, he has become like 27, or he will be. Yeah,
he's approaching 30, bro. Like, wow,
it's insane.
It's amazing as a person that you've got an almost 30-year-old. You know.
Yeah. Let's not talk age now, because let's stop right there. But what I wanted to say, taking away a bit of the focus here, what we just talked about, is that it's nice to hear that you're doing these kind of things, because it really adds up to good atmosphere and feel within the family. I can approve that, because, you know, we've been doing things also. We were quite an active family as well. I think it's great, and also gives time maybe for another family member to do other stuff. I see your missus, she was in London, you know.
Oh yeah,
when it comes to Saturday, it's great. You know, it opens up for some possibilities to maybe get some alone time, or go and do something with a friend without having like the family or the kids around. So it's good. That's nice. It's good.
Yeah. It is nice when you when you have that kind of thing. I think right now, what we were discussing, we have had a lot of family and friends over during the past couple of weeks,
Mm.
and I think we've been discussing like we just need a week where it's just us. So like this
Yeah, that can
weekend.
also be a thing. Indeed, indeed. You just feel okay. Family or relatives or friends aside, it can be nice to just be you guys as well.
Just the immediate family. So I think like this
Yeah.
this coming weekend is that. Like I don't care who asks for what. I'm just like I'm not going anywhere this coming
Yeah,
weekend unless of course it's like an emergency. I am gonna be home, and I'm not having anyone over for this weekend
Or
either.
amazing free food being served.
That too. But yeah,
really good. Yeah.
I also met up with my uncle this weekend as well.
Oh, you
I think
did?
on Monday. Yeah, so my uncle
Oh.
I haven't seen since I was, I don't know, maybe Zavi's age or younger.
Yeah,
I
know.
saw
I
him.
remember you've talked about him quite some
Mhm.
time ago, actually.
Yeah.
And all that. Good that you met up.
We met up on Monday. He phoned me up on the phone and was like, "Hey, are you at home?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I was thinking about coming over," and I was like, "Go for it," So he came over.
Hmm.
I actually fell asleep on the sofa while I was waiting for him. So Alex and I were sitting on the sofa. She came and she just sat down over me, fell asleep in my lap, and then I fell asleep on her. Sleeping in my lap, and because we had the telly on and all that kind of stuff. And I woke up. I think she woke up, and then I woke up or something like that. And then I look at my phone and I see like 15 minutes have passed, and he's called me. Like there's a 15-minute missed call. So I call him back. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" Where he's like, "Oh, I'm parked right now. I can't get out of my car." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna come out." And I went out, and he saw me, and he came out of his car. And it was sort of surreal to a certain extent. Like looking at him, I was like, "Oh, I don't recognize him that well." But the more I spent time with him, the more I looked at his face at different angles and stuff, the more I could see, I remember what this person looks like to a certain extent.
Yeah, right.
And obviously he looked a bit different than I remember him because he's older now and all that kind of stuff. But I do remember him. Like after, by the end of our time chatting together and stuff like that, when he was leaving, I looked at his face and I was like, I do recognize this face. It's a recognized face, we see. So yeah, so I had a bit of that basically, so that was the thing. But yeah,
it was a thing indeed. It's cool to hear that you finally got to meet like that.
Definitely. That being said, let's jump into some gaming.
Yes,
And I just want to talk about WWE 2K23, which I did mention already before. 22, sorry, which I mentioned before. Brilliant game, really good graphics. The gameplay is exceptional. The counter system is so much better in 2K22 than it was in 2K16. And luckily, I have both games, so I can try it out and you can see the difference. I just want to say, like, I haven't had so much fun in a game in a while that you played in the same room with other people. I think that's one of the perks of a game like that is that I think now we take for granted, like modern gamers take for granted how exceptional it was to be, back in the day to be able to just sit on a sofa with multiple people and just play together. It is so hard to find games nowadays that you can do that with, Almost everything is online multiplayer. Even when you search like local play, it turns out to be online multiplayer. So WWE 2K22 is easily my favorite local multiplayer game, and I see that like a traditional game. Excuse me. I'd say Drawful 2 is another one, but that's less of a traditional game. It's more like a party game. And yeah, we kicked back. It was me, my brother, nephew, and Zavi, and the four of us sat in the living room one night and we played till 6 a.m. That's when you know it's a good game.
Oh yeah, that's the proof right there.
That's the proof right there. That's the couch co-op kind of play. Like no one wanted to go to bed. Like we were going hard. Everyone was we were having so much fun. Like, oh, let's do WrestleMania next. Oh, let's do Hell in a Cell. Let's try it. And we were just trying out mode after mode, and we were trying to unlock different wrestlers, and you're like, oh my god, everyone was picking their favorite wrestlers and stuff like that. And when we would win, we would celebrate. We'd be singing the songs along. It's time to play the game, You know, the amount of times people started singing, I hear voices in my head, they talk to me, they understand, they talk to me. Like, yeah, we had so much fun. Like, honestly, it
Wow.
was, and I think the other thing too as well is more like, Xavier and my nephew, Kai, they're from, a younger generation. They're both around the same age. And the thing is, they know some of the older wrestlers, but they also know the modern ones. You know, my brother and I, we more or less know the older ones. So we knew the older ones and the ones that are not as old. And we were just bringing back memories. Like, oh, remember when he did that thing? Oh yeah, remember when that thing happened? Oh, it was so amazing. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it was so good to just sit down and play something like that. Because usually when you play other games, even like eFootball, it's only 2 people can play at a time, or at least you can do 4, but you end up on the same teams. It was with WWE, it was pure chaos. Everyone was out for each other. It was like, oh, why is he standing out of the ring? Oh, why are you blocking? Boom. You know, it was crazy. You're just having so much fun. You know, stopping me from doing my finisher. Let me finish him off. You know, it was just banter. It was laughs. It was so fun, honestly. So much fun.
That's some good old traditional gaming, actually.
It is.
The kind of couch gaming thingy.
We did also, and I just remember that as I was mentioning this, we did also do an eFootball tournament on Friday. And similarly, it was couch play, but only 2 at a time. And because it was a tournament, we have multiple consoles in the house. We had 2 sets of people in the living room and 2 in the office competing against each other.
You did like that. Okay. Cool.
We could have done 3 at the same time but the problem is that they would have to play in my bedroom, and my missus was in the bedroom and I didn't want them in my bedroom. So, if the Tele in the boys' room was still working, I would have set it up in their room as well, and it would have been 3 on 3. But the Tele in the boys' room isn't working at the moment, so yeah, it wasn't possible.
Freaking cool.
But yeah, we had a full tournament. Everyone was like shouting. You could hear screaming in the house. People were running up and down the stairs. You know, Alex was in super host mode. Never come over to my house and let Alex know that you're coming over is the key to it. You know, in fact, if you come over, let me know in advance so I can sort of like tie her up in the bedroom and leave her there to sort of like relax, because this woman does not know how to like not turn into a super host. Like, as soon as she knows someone is coming over, she's like, oh, I gotta buy this thing and make sure that they have these refreshments. She went out of her way to sort of like have the house prepared for everyone because she knew they were coming over. And she had like squash made and everything, lemonade made, fresh lemonade. She had done like you know, bowls with like crisps and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, woman, why? Like, we just came back from having dinner. Everyone had eaten already. At best, we might have had a drink, and that would have been it. You know, she bought a whole case of like super malt. You know, my brother was like, we didn't need all this, you know, like, but I do appreciate her for what she does.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's well done.
But my God, this woman needs to take the edge off, you know, because like I was just like, the original plan was we were supposed to come back and she was supposed to take Ty to go to a movie and leave us alone. That didn't happen. But yeah, in the end, it was still a wonderful evening. Still had a good time. Yeah, that's the Polish host in you. That is true.
Indeed.
But yeah, that's been the gaming, bro. Like, what have you been playing?
Yeah. Well, as usual, a bit here and there, but I have been trying out a game. I might have mentioned this. I'm not sure if I have. Start to forget about things, but I came across. You know, sometimes you just accidentally come across a game that you aren't really aware of, and that was the case when regarding this game that is called Farlight or Fairlight 84. This is it was initially a mobile game, but it has been ported to PC, and it is cross-play between the two. I don't think it's on consoles. I have to check it out. You can find it on Steam. Apparently, it's free to play. This is online PvP, online co-op, and it's a kind of it's battle royale, you might say. It kind of plays a bit in between a game such as Fortnite or Apex Legends, actually. And I was like, okay, I haven't heard about this. That's weird. I think I usually hear about something, especially a game like this, I would have heard of.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, it has very positive reviews on Steam,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a fast-paced hero shooter battle royale game.
Mm-hmm.
And I downloaded it and played it the first time about 2 weeks ago, I think,
Mm-hmm.
1.5, 2 weeks ago. Especially when I was just waiting for the Mac to come, for the Mac Mini to arrive. And I was surprised that it played so well. I mean, I played some other, I mentioned before that I played like using emulator, playing Call of Duty Mobile on PC, you know. Feels like cheating almost. But it plays pretty well, and I'm impressed with that game due to the fact that it has so much more content than the actual AAA games, you know, like we talked about that before. But what I wanted to say is that the movement and the actual gunplay here, considering that it comes from a background of being mobile, is so much, or I shouldn't say so much better, but is better. And it surprised me. And I therefore got stuck. I continued to play, and I had fun, you know. I had fun, most randomly matchmaking with other people, and you know how that can end up. Either you get into a good team and you win, or you don't get into good team. Because it's gonna be hard to stay alive, even though I'm pretty used to play these kind of games to a certain extent. But yeah, so that's it. And I streamed it on. When was that? Now was that on? Yeah, that was on Tuesday, actually. That was the game I was streaming. And we talked about Texas and Nalu and my follower and his name is Joe, and he my Nalu, which is Joe, my Nalu, which is Joe, and he that's funny, and he popped in to the stream, and he came along and played. So Farlight or Farlight 84 on Steam.
I'm gonna copy the name into the chat because Nalu's asking.
Yeah. Okay, no, I can do that. It's you've done it. Okay,
yeah,
good.
I've already got it pulled up. Yeah,
but beautiful. Continue. Yeah, sure. So with that said, it has I can see that there's a lot of people playing it. I made a video on my channel if anyone wants to check out. I talk about it, I play, and that was actually though, which I haven't done in a long time. It was like my first gameplay and my first saying, you know, when you really just load up the game and start to play and don't know so much about it. I just played. And of course, the first game you play, you most likely will have, which I think is cool. It's okay. They do like that. You will have like bots, you meet bots, and there will be bots, a mix of that and real players. And but as you go up, like in ranks, I think I went up like pretty quick to gold. And then you start to meet, you know, of course, better players and also more like only PvP moments. Yeah, it's cool. They also have some fun vehicles and stuff in this game, and they kind of balanced it pretty well. So you can still shoot the guy driving and destroy. There are certain guns that kind of counter these vehicles as well. So it's nice. It's nice to see that these kind of things pop up once in a while. The developer and publisher is Fairlight Games. So it's probably not a big studio. I haven't really been doing any backtracking or checking who they are or whatever have you. But yeah, look at that now. And again, I mean, system requirements, it's like Windows 10. When it comes to minimum requirements, you can have an AMD FX 4350 or similar. 6 gigabytes of RAM memory, graphics AMD Radeon HD 7730 or NVIDIA GeForce GT 640. What else to say? 10 gigabytes of available space. That's it when it comes to storage. So there you go. That's been my experience.
That's your experience with Farlight game,
or at least a new one. Yeah.
Just to give some context, the developer is out of Singapore, so that's where they're from.
Look at that.
They are mobile based, and also the game is run on Unreal Engine 4.
Yes,
which is why it has a very similar look to I guess you want to say Fortnite. It has a very Fortnite look, and also because of the fact that Unreal Engine is quite scalable when it comes from mobile to PC. I think that's what makes it such a good transition to from mobile to PC. So
True. That's true.
Pretty good, pretty interesting.
Hmm.
Not my cup of tea, but maybe
No, no.
I would be convinced to play if I had the right people, that kind of thing. So
Sure. Yeah. Indeed. And it's fun, again, when you just, because I mean, I've told you, since I'm an FPS gamer foremost, I've been looking for some newer games, but since I've been playing most of them already, it has been a bit stale. There are some newer titles coming up soon that I will play and cover and stuff like that. But then this was, I think it was just on Steam. I just found it more or less.
yeah.
And I was like, what's this for? What the frack? I've never heard of this. Yeah, so there you go. Okay, that was my gaming.
Go for broke. Okay, let's jump into Tele, and I'll just start with the fact that I've not been really watching a lot of Tele this past week. I've just been busy with other things, hanging out with the boys. I think I've spent so much time hanging out with the boys this past week. It's like, I don't know if I had time to do it. Like, me and the boys, which I want to say the coolest things about my boys is that we can sit together and watch like gaming YouTube channels together, and they get into it. I could just remember yesterday I was sitting on the sofa with them and we were watching. So this is what I was watching this week, which was mainly like keeping up with Gamescom, because Gamescom is going on right now. It's going to be going on until the 27th, and I've just been keeping up with the news because I can't attend this year. So I'm just watching on the telly with quite mixed feelings, if you know what I mean. Watching it, like when stuff is happening, I'm like, oh, I could be there. I should have been there, And Zavi's like, we could have been there. I was like, I know. But at the same time, my whole sort of like, my mixed feelings about not being there aside, like, I'm enjoying so much watching a show like that with the boys. So like, it's something when I was younger, I used to watch with my friends, and now I'm watching with my kids, and they're loving it as they're loving it the way I love it, which is amazing, And I told her with Zavi, it's easy. Like with him, he likes that kind of stuff. Anyway, with Ty, it was a bit of a surprise to me, like how much he loves watching that kind of stuff with me. So like, yesterday we were sitting on the couch, for example, watching the trade show, and Alex finished work and she came downstairs and she was like asking them if they had, like, doing the responsible parent stuff, like, have you had a shower yet, and blah, 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 that kind of stuff, things that I wasn't doing. Anyway, so we were sitting on the sofa and she's asking if they had a shower and all that kind of stuff. And eventually, like, it breaks up the whole flow of what we're watching. And I get up and I leave the living room. I head up to the office and I sit down. Right, I continue watching the show by myself, essentially. One by one, the boys came back, like one by one. First time he came in, okay. He did whatever his mom told him to do. And then he came in the office and he was like, Dad, can I sit with you? And I'm like, yeah, pull a chair. Pulls the chair, he sits down. Then Ty was having a shower. He comes out of the shower and he's like, he's not even dressed yet. His hair is wet. He comes in. He's like, Daddy, just give me a sec. Let me just go dry my hair and I'll be with you. And then he comes in and he's like, with Zavi, it's like he asks, can I come with you? Ty doesn't do that. He's like, I'll be with you. Don't worry about it, right? You don't have to ask me. I don't need to ask you. Just know I'll be with you in a few. Let me just dry my hair. All right. And so he comes in and Ty also thinks that I'm a chair, like I'm a human chair. So whenever he comes to sit, when I'm in the office at my desk, he just comes to sit in my lap. So he just comes over and he stands next to me and he's like, look, pick me up and put me in your lap. That's what, you're a chair. All right. So,
from now on, you're a chair.
Whenever I asked him, do you think I'm a chair, Ty? He's like, yes.
He's honest. He's honest, at least. Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. So, and they just came in and they just sat with me and we watched the bit of the show up until, at one point I started like actually working, which they did not enjoy. So like I actually started typing up something because I was writing some articles for Gamescom. And Zavi got bored. He's like, oh, I'm feeling tired. I'm going to go to bed. And then, but Ty wanted to stay. He was fine staying, but then it was his bedtime. So I was like, buddy, you got to go to bed. And he was like, I was like, what time is it, Ty? He looks at the time. He's like, oh, it's 10 o'clock. It's my bedtime. So yeah, so he went to bed. So they both went to bed. He just sort of like gave me a kiss. I love you, Dad. I was like, I love you too. And he went to bed. And then I just stayed on the computer, polished up some work. And, Yeah, that's kind of been it for me, more or less. I had some time with the
Mhm.
lads, and I'm just happy that they're proper gamers. Proper gamers. I do like that fact. They're so cool. I always wanted to have a proper gaming family, and my boys are proper gamers, and I'm happy about that. My missus is a proper gamer as well. But she was working a 9 to 5 all day, so like she didn't get to watch Gamescom with us. So yeah. That's
Yeah,
just life.
that's life. Yeah, indeed.
I
Okay.
and to in response to her comment in the chat, as soon as she came in the room, we left. She came in the room and asked us to lower the volume. Like, you asked to lower the volume. As far as we were concerned, you wanted to watch something else, so we left. Like, we were thinking, look, we were happy. This is something that my missus does a lot. I don't know if your missus does the same thing, Rod. She will come in a room and she'll change the whole atmosphere of the room that she comes into. So she'll come in a room and she'll be like, "Oh, that window is too wide open. Let's just pull the blinds." Or, "Ooh, you need to like close the window in. It's letting too much air in. Or open the window more. It's like you need to let in more air." And she's not in the room.
That's actually very interesting because yes, that happens.
It's a woman thing, bro. I'm telling you. They
Yeah,
must be.
but it's like yeah. You mentioned you've said one thing, but then you said the second one. It's usually oh, the air is so bad, I have to open the window, or
I said, why?
Yeah, it's like, and I'm sitting there. Hey, I'm fine with it.
No, I'm living in this.
And when we take, like, we usually take. I've told you I have my mid-meal snacks and try to eat healthy and stuff like that. I also usually eat something light before I go to bed, maybe 1 hour before.
Yeah.
And Isaac do the same, of course. I mean, he's my son.
Exactly.
So he's doing a toast or something. And of course, if you go, he likes to not burn it. That's not healthy, but very close to getting burned, if that makes sense. And of course, that will, we have actually 3 levels when it comes to our house, a basement, but we have the TV set. You've been there. You've been sleeping in front of our TV. Yeah, so it's upstairs, right? And the kitchen is underneath. So the air kind of goes up, and of course you can feel the smell of that almost burnt up. And she's like, "Oh, I feel it again. It's too much." And then the window goes up and everything, and it's like, yeah. It's funny.
It is funny.
It is funny that you're like.
It is so funny that is. I would love to know.
Sometimes though, because we have the window open. I mean, summertime even. Of course, the window in the bedroom is open during the night, right?
Yeah.
Because it can be hot and everything. We have some neighbors here that are smoking, so it tends to, you can feel that, right? Cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
And then I can be more. I'm like. How is the reaction? I'm like, oh shit, they're smoking. I need to close the window. No, you don't have to do that. It will leave soon. It's okay. It's gonna, let it be open. And I'm like, wait, you want to open when Isaac has been toasted and it's like upstairs, and then now when you have cigarette smoke in our bedroom and we're soon gonna go to bed, you don't want me to close the window? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. But it's
classic relationship move right there. Mention the time when they didn't do the thing, that's the classic move. Like, remember that time? You should have done it that time, not now. Now is the right time to do it. That's a classic move right there. That's top tier, right?
Yeah.
Pull out one
that's
of my playbook.
Egg smell for you.
It's egg smell. Alex doesn't like the smell of eggs. When I start making eggs, she's like, "Oh, I can smell it in the whole house. Open up the windows." And me and the boys are like, "Smells good to us, It's perfectly smelling,
but it's true also, as Alice said, women can change their mood quickly. It's hard to keep up, and it's kind of a. I can agree. That is actually true. It's not necessarily always like a bad thing per se. True. It's just a difference. And I can feel that. Of course, it has to do with the personal, so we can't just talk due to gender, but I do think at least in my experience, also living now with the same woman for so many years, it's like it's true. It's true.
It can't, because like in the same way, like I know some men who can go from 0 to 100, but out of anger. So like they could be fine and then get really angry really quickly. But I think
May
with
I
women,
ask you? Oh, sorry. No, God, why did I interrupt you? That was rude. Sorry.
oh no, go on.
But I just realized. What about your house then, and your missus or your? Because on Saturday morning, or when we've had breakfast, or even before breakfast, because usually I do the breakfast, and Annalise starts to, she goes for the thingy where we have the laundry and everything,
Yeah.
bringing it down. And from that moment on, she's on steroids, man. She's like, boom, now we clean this, now we launder this, and we do this. And I'm like, can we just talk about, no, she's like a rocket in the house.
That is 100% Alex. Like, I'm like, look, let's just chill, relax, like, let's enjoy each other's No, we gotta do these things now. We gotta get all this, everything has to get done. Like, when she starts doing the laundry, I find laundry just on the floor. So she takes it all in the basket, it's all on the floor, and she's just chucking stuff in the washer and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, she is one of those active people, must do things, a whole lot of stuff at once. I remember we had some friends over some time ago for like a game night, and the house was clean, right? We didn't really have anything to do. And there was Alex. Oh, I gotta clean the windows outside, and I gotta cut this bush here. And she's doing all these things. And we're sitting down on the sofa, me and the boys, just watching the telly. And the boys are like, "Mommy's just doing all this sort of stuff." I was like, "Guys, just let's just leave her alone. let's just." So like, the three of us just sitting on the sofa, just like watching her do all this sort of stuff. We're like, "Oh, she's too much, man." But that again,
it's like I don't know. I get very confused sometimes when this happens, because it's like I almost feel lazy, even though I am far from lazy. I'm a person that needs to sit down and take it easy sometimes, because I'm always onto something, and I put my soul into things and work long days and shit. But it has to be said. It's so funny. Why is this? Yeah, but I guess women.
Why different?
It's beautiful also, because they really they want it to be really good, and they do it for not only for their themselves, own sake. It's like a contribute thing, or including like the whole family in this aspect. Even though you, from your perspective, don't really appreciate it. Maybe at that moment of time, because maybe I'm sitting here doing something, I'm finishing with a bit of stress, a mix or something, and I hear Anneli just starts the vacuum cleaner outside of the room, like, come on, because usually I do the vacuum cleaning, but maybe I have waited half an hour too long before I start my vacuum cleaning, and then she like, frack it, I'm doing it. So
that's a classic Alex move right there. It's straight out of the Alex playbook. If you wait too long to do something, a thing that especially if she reminded you about it and you haven't done it yet, she'll start doing it. She'll come in and she'll start doing the thing, but then she'll be upset at the same time, and then you'll be like,
exactly. And I'm like, wait, hey, I'm supposed to do. I will do this. I just have to finish this, because for me, just now, this is more important than a bit of dust on the floor that I will take away, but it will happen in, let's say, 25 minutes from now.
No, it doesn't work that way. That's not in the
No, it doesn't work that way. I know it's a useless kind of thing.
It needs to happen now, because once it's now is the now. You just has to happen at that point.
I know.
You just we will. Honestly, I think it's just we will never understand. There are times when like I will say, I'll come in the kitchen and Alex will be doing the dishes. And I'm like, I'll do the dishes, like chill, relax, And she's like, no, I've already started, and I'll have to literally fight the sponge out of her hand, like wrestle it away from her. So like, look, I will wash the dishes. Go and sleep, woman. Like, go to bed.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. Yeah, because when it comes to dishes, I usually do that here. I mean, we have a machine as well. We put it in there, but sometimes some stuff you just have to, handicraft stuff.
The old-fashioned way.
Yeah, old-fashioned way. And I kind of like it, actually. I kind of like that, to be honest. But that's not a problem here. It has more gone to a point where I feel you just walk away now. I mean, you could actually have, you've left that for a long time. It's me, like, to Anneli. I mean, woman, I do this all the time.
Maybe you could just take...
So I get it's interesting, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, I think
I see your experience there now, Louis. It's interesting, isn't it? Oh yeah. Oh, you painted the kitchen on your
Oh
own.
yeah, Alex did the kitchen. She was
Let
like
me
talking about the
say,
kitchen. Well,
yeah.
honestly, she said she was gonna do it. She was like, "Look, I'm gonna paint this kitchen, la di da. I want to do it myself. Want to do it my own way." I was like, "Okay, go for it." And she did the kitchen herself. She did a brilliant job, by the way. The kitchen it
Mm,
looks night and day compared to what it was before with what she did.
nice. Yeah.
But she did a great job in the kitchen. And yeah, but at the same time, I think we both have our roles, and the same way like she does all
Of
that kind of
course.
extra stuff, I'm mostly busy with the boys most of the time. So we sort
Yeah.
of, I think we balance each other out for the most part when it comes to stuff like that. And
Of course. Yeah. You find that definitely after some time of living together, for sure.
mhm,
But it's just funny. We haven't really talked about this
never.
part, I guess, and then we find out. Okay, there's definitely some similarities going on.
hmm It's a
Oh,
genetic woman
that's
thing.
funny.
It's in the woman gene. You see, like in those
Yeah.
chromosomes and stuff. When it decides you're a woman, that's when it's like, okay, we're gonna have to include the random cleaning at random times when everyone's resting. Yep, that's gonna be in there. Want to make sure we have a bit of the whole remind you to do something, and if you don't start doing it immediately, do it yourself and get angry. Yep, that's in there.
Yeah. Right. But it's interesting when some things, as we said here, just they just go on, they just start, and it's hard to stop. It's like a tornado.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to, for example, I'm very much into like being clear about things when it comes to communication and
hmm
stuff, and I usually I send Annalie maybe an SMS like saying, okay, should we make chicken for dinner or something like that? I mean, I know she's busy. I understand you can't answer like in 1 minute. I
hmm
mean, that's understandable. But if there's a difference there, then she tends to, you might get an answer sometime. I don't want to. She's a great person, but I mean, she might answer me like 5 minutes before she's leaving work, and then maybe we have the chicken in the fridge, and it's gonna take some time, to
hmm
to get it like lean and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, what couldn't you just,
Do
then
it.
it's,
Do it.
I
Do
don't
it like
know.
again. I think that's the thing. Lady pocket dimension time. That's basically it. They live in a time when things can happen now, bro. Like we obviously do not live in the same time, and we just have to
Oh man,
accept that. We
yeah,
can't get
yeah.
upset with them for living in their time. We just have to be
Nah,
upset with them for living in their time. So yeah.
that's basically it. Oh man, but bro, when you're having a good time, time flies. Also, I think
It does.
we need to move on.
Um,
I gotta talk a bit about Tele as well. If
Go
you
on,
didn't
get in
want to
there.
add on, or add,
No, generally speaking, it's
no,
just been me and the boys watching
yeah, yeah,
Gamescom. So you go for
yeah,
it.
cool, sure. I've been watching with Isaac a bit of an special kind of series, you might say, on Netflix.
hmm
Mentioned also earlier that it has been a bit of focus on not the normal stuff once in a while, also looking into like you and I, we talked about Korean movies, we talked about
hmm
Korean series. This
hmm
is a Korean series on Netflix, like a game show, a comedy game show horror
hmm
show that is called Zombiverse.
hmm
Zombiverse. And I actually gonna do like this just to make sure that it's clear what I'm saying here. Zombiverse. Zombiverse. It has to be like that, right? Yeah. So, what is this then? Yeah,
hmm
it's a show. They put together, and I have been thinking for a long time. When will someone do
hmm
something like a reality almost thing with actors when it comes to an outbreak of a zombie virus or
hmm
something? And that's actually what they've done here. They have put together. I think they become a few more, but initially they are like 5 or 6. And it starts off in Seoul. How do you say it? Seoul.
So yeah.
So yeah, where zombie virus has an outbreak apparently, and people start to run amok, and death follows it, and it's done really well. It's quite
hmm
like almost scary when it happens for real. And I mean, they know things. These actors know a few things what will happen, but they
hmm
also have to improvise as human beings, as actors, and find or try to find solutions. Because there are some challenging quests that comes up. For example, they come out from a shopping center. They've been stuck in there. It's like and there's a lot of zombies. They have to get out. There's a parking lot, and there are some cars parked, and they have to find a car that works. They have to move around quietly and use keys to see what car works in order to get out of there and move on to the next place. And it's actually quite fascinating. It doesn't have that great rating on IMDb.
Yeah,
only a
4.4.
4.4, which is low. And I'm a bit surprised actually, because
Really?
we kind of enjoyed this. It's because it becomes quite funny and awkward and weird sometimes between the guys, because some of the decisions they take might actually cost a member's life. They might get caught by zombies and therefore so-called killed within the series. And again, they put time into the special effects to look at the zombies and the situation, so it becomes quite. You could start to realize if something like this would happen for real, the difficulties and how to to survive mainly, just to get.
I survive. It'd be easy.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I survive. I've already got a zombie apocalypse plan already worked out for me. So like I'm not worried.
Yeah, but it's but I wanted to mention this is if anyone is interested to try it out and see what you think. It was a different kind of experience again, watching. I mean, there's quite a bunch of like game shows and stuff like that but nowadays, but this is definitely different. And if you like the zombie verse or the zombie universe, then this could be cool to check out. So again, Zombiverse on Netflix. I mean, what should I say? Recommend it? Well, to those of you that might have that kind of interest to watch it, it's not perfect in any way, and I can understand to a certain degree when it comes to the rating. There are flaws in the series as well, but also some cool moments and definitely also funny moments. So yeah, there we go. That was it.
Sounds like a good watch. May have to get into it at some point in time. Level error. Quite a lot of stuff coming out from Korea though. There's a lot. Like Netflix is really going in on their Korean fix. If I do say so myself. But that being said, I think we got to the end of the show, Raj.
Yes, we have. Look at that now. I also just saw you now you said you had some swords for zombie apocalypse just in case. Actually, me as well. And it's a story for that. I'd save it for another time. I actually have a katana that I brought from Japan many years ago.
You really gonna use a sword in a zombie apocalypse, Raj? You think that's gonna be the way to survive?
Yes.
I'm not. That's not in my plan. My plan is to run. My plan is.
Well, of course, I mean, fleeing, running is very often the best choice, and that goes for many. Like, also, it's a better way to also sometimes avoid a fight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you gotta. I mean, we made jokes. We talked about that before. And also, me and Isaac has let our imagination, run like nourish a bit when it comes to this, and we have sort of a plan to go to a handyman kind of store and get good stuff and gear, and we're gonna use some ice hockey protection, put it on, and and I definitely gonna use. I need to sharpen the sword though. It's not sharpened as otherwise I wouldn't have been able to bring it to Sweden. But yeah,
do you not think that ice hockey gear is gonna hinder your movement though? It's gonna make you slower?
No, actually not, because
really?
Not much. No. Today they are so sophisticated. I mean, as you know, Isaac played ice hockey like for 7 years. He stopped when he was 15, so it's like 8 years ago now. but it's no, they are light. Actually, they are really. I mean, they were more bulky and not that comfortable when I was playing when I was young, like in the 80s, But they nowadays, no, not really. You could definitely do well using them. So Yeah, and of
Yes,
course,
it's
yeah. Go ahead.
the one thing I would say is I want to get deeper into this conversation, but we do have to
Yeah, we
end
have
the
to.
show.
So
So here's
this is
what
a
we're gonna
long
do.
episode.
If you guys want to hear us have a discussion about our zombie apocalypse plans, let us know in the comment section below, and Roger and I are gonna come together and do a apocalypse exclusive episode. We'll pick our favorite zombie movies as well, so we'll have regular stuff for you guys, our favorite zombie games. It will be a zombie themed episode, but where we will then share our zombie apocalypse survival plans with you guys. If you want to see it, leave a comment. Let us know in the comment section. Drop a like on the episode here on YouTube, and just let us know if you want to see this. Make sure that you let us know in the comments, and and we'll make it happen. So. Yeah.
True. That's a good one. Yeah. And with that said, we're going to just wrap things up. Yeah. Now you're good with that idea. Good to know. Thank you. No, thank you for being here, both in the chat, but also you guys listening to the podcast in afterwards. And I hope you enjoyed. We had a good time. It was some interesting things coming up when it comes to relationships and what happens between men and women, or whatever relationship you might have when it comes to dynamics and the differences between you guys. And with that said, take care, have a beautiful week, and stay healthy. And I hope our tips here might have led you to some good gaming and TV stuff. So with that said, Muffin and out.
Beautiful as always. So with that, guys, thank you very much for listening to this episode of That Beautiful Life podcast. As always, you can find Roger at 40 Splish Splash. That's number 40 with SPLISH, SPLESH. He streams on a Tuesday and a Sunday. That's correct?
Correcto.
Ooh, beautiful. No streams till Sunday. That's a good time to work on those music and all that kind of good stuff. I'm gonna be working on the articles. That being said, you can find me pretty much supposedly streaming on a Monday or Thursday. Now Luke can tell you I haven't streamed in like 2 weeks. That is, I've just been spending time with the boys. I do want to start back streaming today. We will see if I can muster up the energy to stream. You guys let me know if you want to see me on stream again. It just works out like my time with the boys and the time with the stream, it clashes, and it's like, plus, especially like right now, Alex is working overtime a lot, which means when I leave the boys to then stream, trust me, guys, you know what happens. At some point during the stream, I'm going to have to get up to go deal with something. So, yeah. And then once I wait a little bit longer, then it's like, I don't feel like streaming anymore. I feel exhausted. So yeah, anyway, that being said, I will still try at some point. You can find me pretty much everywhere at LP Garden, it's Garden.eu, or Simply Binge, or at Simply Binge UK. And as always, we wouldn't like guys to miss on any of the episodes of That Beautiful Life podcast. Many beautiful people like to subscribe to this podcast on Castbox, Acast, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, YouTube, simplybinge.com, and elsewhere. And what's the company like it that we're giving it for free. So as always, this has been queued for your pleasure. And it's a wrap. It's a
wrap. And you can find me on 40 Splish Splash, by the way.
I did say that before.
Did you? Are you sure?
I did. 40 Splish Splash. That's just before I said he streams on a Tuesday and a Sunday.
Okay, I must have misheard things.
Oh, beautiful.